For more on the Russia-China relations and the dark frown of the West to it, I'm now being joined from Turkey via Zoom by a global affairs analyst, Shahzada Rahim. Thank you for joining us on The World Now. In the face of criticisms from the West, China and Russia appear to be strengthening ties. What's a reaction to the Chinese defense minister's visit to Moscow?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. The visit of Chinese Foreign Minister Li Shangfu is very important at this point of time because of two major reasons. First, we have seen 2 days ago, the Taiwanese separatist leader, which China calls him a separatist leader, attempted to visit the United States. He literally visited. On the way to Paraguay, he attempted to visit the United States first, which was condemned by China. So this clearly showed, the U.S. is not looking after red lines of the Chinese. So this expo was very important event, but the personal participation of Chinese defense minister sent a signal that China and Russia are more closer than ever. The second thing of this, the second major reason of this major visit is we know that the war is the counter-offensive has failed, and this war in Ukraine is more important for Russia than for China. China is very closely looking at the situation, though it's not arming Russia in the war against Ukraine, but for China, it's a red line because Chinese report, the Americans' plans. If Russia has the strategic defeat in Ukraine, then the next is China. They are going to encircle China in the form of another military alliance, like we have seen recently, the close collaboration between Australia and US in the form of AUKUS. So it's a new form of NATO the United States is trying to establish in the Pacific region. The
Mr. Rahim,
is Taiwan.
Yes, Mr. Rahim, before now, China has claimed to be neutral in the conflict in Ukraine. But then, of course, it has maintained robust economic, diplomatic, and trade ties with Russia. How neutral really is Beijing?
No, in this at this point of time, no one can stay neutral. We know that, China silently supported Russia, it abstained from majority of the voting United Nations Security Council. China has never been neutral. It's the only thing is it's not openly supporting the armaments to Russia. The thing is, right now, if you see, the Chinese defense minister, he is on the U.S. sanction list back in 2018. Why he was put on the sanction list? We know that because he was the one who negotiated with Russians to purchase Su-35 and S-400 missile system from Russia to China. So that was the reason, the U.S. put him on sanction list. Until now, he's on the sanction list. So he's being considered as the most pro-Russian official within China, alongside the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, which has recently been appointed. So the thing is, the China is not neutral in this situation because China cannot stay neutral because China is sharing a huge border with Russia and it has a close economic ties with Russia. We know that the net annual trade volume between China and Russia reached more than $130 billion, and it's going to surpass $200 billion in the coming year. So China cannot avoid the reality, whatever is happening in the world, because China is also feeling isolated because of this war. US and the Europe is also threatening China. With this hysteria, China might invade Taiwan in the coming years.
Well, Mr. Rahim, let's talk about the impact of this now. What exactly does the China-Russia alignment and realignment portend for the war in Ukraine?
Yeah, the thing is, we know that, China and Russia has been long-term allies because they're part of SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They are the members of the BRICS, which is the leading economic bloc, which is emerging, and the SCO is also emerging as a security bloc. The only thing, which is attracting these two countries is the common security of Eurasian space. The China and Russia doesn't want the instability in the Eurasian space, and the China is very keen because China has invested $1 trillion in Belt and Road Initiative. So it's a huge investment. And the Chinese know, without Russia, they cannot, ensure the security of this region. So the only reason, they came to close together is, to ensure each other's security and economic interest. So this is very important. And right now we have seen, in Moscow, most of the SCO nations have been participating. They are there, the different defense ministers from Pakistan, India, and Iran. So it's an initiative, to come together and talk. And we have seen, the speech of Chinese defense minister. What he said, we have to establish a new security framework under the emblem of SCO. That means, a new thing is coming up. And the more talk about in the whole conference is about multipolarity and alternative security structure against the West.
All right. Finally, Mr. Rahim, the International Military Technical Forum that's ongoing in Moscow is, the Russian defense minister says the forum will become a driving force for the growth of international military technical cooperation. Is this some form of G7 or NATO alternative?
No, like, according to Western experts, they see it as an anti-Western bloc, like, the emergence of SU and other things. The reality is like, look, the NATO already existed. There is no Soviet Union right now. Why the NATO exists still today? That's also a question. But now a new the powers are rising within the global south, so don't need economic structure and security structure in order to maintain to ensure their rise peacefully. So this is not an anti-West or anti-NATO or something. The thing is they want to ensure the security of the whole Great Eurasian space when it comes to their economic security and political security of the region. We know that this region has been volatile. We have seen due to the Afghanistan, the region has been under terrorism for more than 20 years. And right now it is coming down because of the strict measures under the emblem of SCO. So it's not an anti-West alliance or anti-American alliance. They're just building a joint initiative to provide an alternative platform to the countries of the global south. That includes the countries in Asia and in Africa in particular.
All right, Mr. Rahim. I've been speaking with global affairs analyst Shahzada Rahim, and he joined us from Turkey. Thank you for talking to us on The World Now.